We live in a society where there's an unrealistic standard of perfection that we feel pressured into every day. We look at our social media posts and we see these beautiful images of flawless women and men, people chiseled, people without pores, people without body hair in certain areas, and then we look at ourselves and we see that we are not like them. We're not perfect. And we don't put into mind that these are filters, that they are posing in a certain way to make their body look a certain way, that their lives are also not perfect, that they have struggles just like us. But we still compare our own life to theirs and feel less than. A lot of us struggle with that. We also struggle with trying to be perfect in our own life, trying to be the perfect partner, the perfect wife, the perfect girlfriend, the perfect father, the perfect mother, the perfect husband, the perfect everything, and we fall short, and then we beat ourselves up, and we're so hard on ourselves because we're not perfect. We think back to our past and the things that we've done, and we regret it so deeply that we find ourselves hating ourselves, which doesn't help us to grow. It just hinders our growth. It just makes us feel like shit. We live in a society with these unrealistic expectations to never age, to always be perfect, to always smile, to always be happy, when life is actually really hard, and we age and we get these beautiful wrinkles on our face and lines on our skin, stretch marks, evidence that we have grown, scars, evidence that we have lived, laughed, cried, and loved. We live in a society with an unrealistic expectation that we need to be rich to be happy. But a lot of us are not actually looking for that. We're just looking for love, and we're looking for peace, and we're looking for happiness, and we're provided this illusion that the life of perfection, what society deems as perfect, will provide that for us. I think comparison is the biggest evil that we could do to our own self, because we'll always be able to compare our lives to something that's better and then feel like we're falling short. And it's okay to feel that way. I don't want to tell you that that's wrong, because I struggle with it, you struggle with it, we all struggle with it. Social media makes it 10 times worse because they're always throwing things in our face like, hey, this is what makes you not good enough. Hey, this is what you should look like. Hey, this is what you should be like. And then we look at ourselves and we're like, wow, I'm not like that. I mess up all the time. When it comes to learning to love yourself, that's quite the journey, isn't it? It really is. It's this thing that we keep hearing all over social media. Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. But then when we're actually told what love yourself means, we're shown images of, well, if you want the ice cream, buy the ice cream. The fucking ice cream is not gonna make you love yourself. It's not. Loving yourself doesn't come from an external source. Loving yourself comes from the inside. And when it comes to finding yourself, finding peace, finding happiness, setting boundaries, doing the thing you don't want to do, but knowing that you need to do it because your future self will thank you for it. Self-love is so hard to do. In a society that teaches us that we are never enough, God, loving yourself is so damn hard. I know, at least I'm speaking for women, that once we hit the age of 30, we hit a wall. That's the latest thing I see on social media. And as a 35-year-old woman, I'm like, go fuck yourself and your stupid fucking wall. It makes me so upset to hear these things because it's just teaching us to not love ourselves. It's teaching us that we're not enough, that we have an expiration date. And we don't. We're human beings, all deserving of love and peace and happiness. And we're all worthy of living a beautiful life. So to fight against the social media that's brainwashing us to believe that we're not enough, to fight against society, this consumerist society that tells us that we never have enough, it takes active work and active steps, but it can be done. It's important to recognize your own worth and value no matter what age you are. It doesn't diminish with age. It's important to fight against what society tries to brainwash us to believe and to embrace who you are. And if there's parts of you that you don't like, to ask yourself, is that society trying to tell you that you shouldn't like that part of you? And if it's areas that you just need growth in, like maybe you struggle with insecurity or jealousy, or maybe you struggle with control, it's okay to recognize that within yourself and to take the steps to better that. I think what frustrates me is that we live in a society that tells us that we have to be perfect. So when we recognize that, no, you're actually imperfect, it just throws it in our face that we have fallen short. And that's really hard to do. Self-work is hard to do. I wish that we lived in a society that embraced the imperfections and that said, you know what, it's okay. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to be flawed. It's okay to grow. It's okay to recognize that you did something wrong and then own up to it. All these things are beautiful. I wish we lived in a society that embraced aging, not shamed it, as if it was some sort of a thing that we shouldn't be doing when all of us do it. And it's a blessing to get older. I wish we lived in a society that didn't continuously devalue us and then shame us for not loving ourselves. That's the ultimate game, isn't it? To live in a world that constantly tells us that we are not enough and then asks us why we don't love ourselves more. Well, look at everything around us. Maybe that's why. Self-love is a journey, and it's a hard one to take, but it's worth it. Self-love means really diving on the inside and looking at all the ugly parts and loving those too. Self-love is looking at your past and your present and saying, okay, well, where do I want my future to go? And how can I take some steps towards that? Self-love means fighting against everything that society is trying to brainwash us to believe, and fighting against all the different mixed messages that we're getting, and really just simplifying everything. And that's really hard to do, but it can be done. It's just a constant battle that we're gonna have to go through. Self-love is hard. It's not impossible, but it's hard, and it takes a lot of work, but that work is worth it. See, you are someone that is worthy to be loved. You are beautiful, no matter what age you are, no matter what size you are, no matter what race you are, no matter what religion, no matter what political side you're on, you are beautiful. You are worthy of being loved. We're all different, and we live in such a hateful world. And it's really hard to be a light when there's so much darkness. But part of being a light is to fight against the darkness within you too. The self-loathing, the lack of growth, the lack of recognition. It's okay to be flawed. No one's perfect. Not me. Not you, not anyone. And I know you're going through a really hard time and you've been really hard on yourself, but it's time to start fighting for yourself. It's time to start fighting for your peace, and it's time to start fighting for your happiness. It's time to start working on yourself and on your struggles, and take one step at a time towards becoming the person that you would like to be. Not the image of perfection, but someone who is beautifully flawed and at peace with themselves. Someone that's willing to grow, but okay with where they're at right now too. I hope you all have a beautiful day. I really do. And I hope you find peace in your life.